welcome or welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz and I will be guiding you on this journey today. This is the reading for Taurus, wherever Taurus shows up for you. I'm not ready to take cards yet. So that's why I put them back. I want to wake up the cards a little bit, get a couple of good shuffles going on. Are these literally the same cards that just came out? Because, shoot. I want to look. Hold on. Dude, it totally is the same cards. I think, let's see. I think the Strength card or Wheel of Fortune was in there, which is at the top of the deck now. But we're keeping them. We'll roll with it. What's at the bottom of the deck? 8 of Wands, Page of Swords, 3 of Cups. Okay. I kind of do want to pull the Wheel of Fortune out here since it did. I thought it was a Strength card actually, and there's a Strength card. Weird. Okay. Anyway, that rarely happens. And when it does, dude, it's like, no, we're giving you these cards. Take these cards. Heard. Okay, so I don't even think I had gotten through my whole spiel yet. So this is Taurus, wherever Taurus shows up for you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I would absolutely love it if you did. Either way, I'm glad that we're here. I'm glad you witnessed that. I'm glad I went back and looked. But let's just get into the reading. I honestly, I haven't really had a plan for the spread that we were going to use this time around. I was just kind of taking the cards that came out, as long as it was a reasonable amount of cards, right? I don't know. I kind of want to leave that there. And I guess leave this here too. Interesting. This whole this whole reading, so far, I feel has been divinely guided, so let's just get into it. Okay. 222 was the time. Or on the timer. We start with the 4 of Swords. 4 of Swords, 9 of Wands, King of Swords, the Fool, High Priestess, Wheel of Fortune, Strength card. 8 of Wands at the bottom of the deck, Page of Swords, 3 of Cups, King of Cups. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how far we get at the bottom of the deck. I don't want to have you guys here for an hour or something like that. So we start with the 4 of Swords, like I said, and my foot is itching like a mother. Oh my God. And it's something having to do with feet. I don't know. It was one of those really satisfying itches too. Okay. We haven't even talked about the 4 of Swords yet. Okay. Let's finally talk about it. So 4 of Swords, 9 of Wands. This just reeks to me of exhaustion. Mental, possibly even physical. It's interesting because in this 4 of Swords, right? The 4 of Swords does talk about rest. It's, giving yourself the time, the space, the permission even to give yourself a break. And to, it's one of those things of rest being just as important as work or hustle keeps coming to mind. But listen, as a Taurus sun, I am not a hustler. I just am not. I know plenty of Tauruses that are hustlers. Come to think of it though, all of them are fire rising signs. That helps. I have like 0 fire in my chart. Okay, anyway. And it's interesting because there's, obviously, right? There's 4 swords that are resting against this brick wall here. There's this helmet here. There's these 2 birds that are chilling. Like, even birds feeling comfortable enough to land on something. Like, just tranquil, calm, right? Like, literally hanging up your swords, putting down your swords, laying down your swords. And I love how the book, actually, I opened right to the page, but I love how the book kind of puts it, because let's see, 4 swords rest on a rock wall. There's no sign of the knights that possess them, nor the battleground that required their presence. It is a picture of tranquility and calm, so much so that 2 small songbirds have decided to take refuge here. We can't tell if the swords have been used in a bloody battle or if they soon will be. Nevertheless, whatever. The message they carry is clear. It is time for a complete and utter rest from the battle. So it's kind of like whether you wanted to or not. Let me just read about the 9 of Wands really quick since I have the book in my hand. I feel like I'm kind of like pinballing all over the place, so bear with me. The wounded warrior pictured in the card has seen the worst life has to offer. His head is bandaged, his arm wrapped in a makeshift sling. He leans on his staff as a crutch. We'll get back to that. He is left alone in his suffering. His eyes are weary and mistrustful. He has spent too much time in the dark and yearns once more to feel the healing light on his face. Even so, though he may be battle worn and bone weary, he is still alive. And if he can find a bit of respite, he will emerge stronger, smarter, and all the wiser for his troubles. The 9 of Wands is the card of defense. Are you guarding yourself? If you've been hurt in the past, it makes sense that you'd be more suspicious and want to protect yourself. Old wounds are not yet healed, physically or psychologically. You could be recovering from an illness or some experience that has left you feeling depleted and even a little depressed. As the saying goes, however, half the world's ills are cured by activity, the other half by rest, bro. Okay. Now is the time for the latter. Seek resilience and respite and relaxation. You will emerge the stronger for it. Dude, how perfect. How perfect is that? Literally 2 cards that are saying rest. Not to mention, too, like, you could have been in this energy already. It doesn't necessarily have to be that you are going into it. Obviously, if that is you, I mean, truly it can go either way, right? Like, either you do really need to give yourself a break, because this is like on the verge of complete burnout, which is very harmful to you, right? And truly staying in a state of burnout, again, it harms us physically, it harms us mentally, it harms us emotionally, all the things, right? They say that it takes 3 to 5 years to heal from actual burnout. And I think that really depends on how long we force ourselves to stay in situations, to put out energy, to show up in places where we know is incorrect for us. And also to even just depriving ourselves of rest. It's harmful, right? Like, so again, like, there needs to be a focus or prioritizing rest. And not to mention too, that is only going to help you achieve the things that you want to achieve faster and more fully, because like you can fully show up. You have the energy for it. You have the mental clarity. You have the energy to like take appropriate quote unquote risks, right? Even the Wheel of Fortune being here, like, I think as a society, or just a way that we're conditioned to, we are conditioned to see rest as being wasteful or like a waste of time, or just, something not to prioritize or like work into your life, especially if you are busy, or if you have a lot of things that if you're like very goal driven, you have a lot of things that you want to accomplish. And the Wheel of Fortune, to me, it's like whatever has been going on in your life recently, in the recent past, it is changing. And it's like in constant change. It's like the one, what's that saying? Like the one guarantee in life is change, or something like that. Because nothing stays the same for very long, ever. I also always see the Wheel of Fortune as being a good card. Like things are always changing in your favor. So again, if you have been burning the candle at both ends, my recent or my Taurus friend recently said that to me, burning the candle at both ends. It's like, continuing to not honor the cues like within your body, within your mind, right? Like it's if you won't do it, you'll be forced to do it. It's kind of like, I literally got this image in my head of like being put on your ass, like because again, right, like injury. And what I was going to say about this Nine of Wands is that they are actually resting against this sword here. I know they called it a staff, but it's interesting that well, I guess there's this staff here, but and then in the Four of Swords, the book was talking about the knights that these swords belong to not being in the picture. Like, where did they go? Are they resting before a battle? Are they resting after a battle? And then this one in the Nine of Wands, like, kept going instead of resting. And now look at him, beat up, right? Like, arm is injured. He's got a head injury, can barely stand up on his own, right? Okay, so let's move on from these three cards. I think you get the message after 15 minutes, right? And what is awesome too is that, like, on the other side of those two cards, on the other side of rest, we have the King of Swords, the Fool card, the High Priestess, Strength, Eight of Wands. We have all this opportunity, all this movement, really. The King of Swords is on the other side of this maze behind him, right? Swords have to do with our mind, our mindset, mentality, intelligence, information, knowledge, right? I also see swords as being the suit of ego, because that's generally where we hear our ego is in our minds. And our ego is created by the stories that we attach to experiences, to feelings, to circumstances, and it becomes our belief system. It becomes our temperament, our personality, right? It's the reasons why we believe the things that we do. It's the reason why we perceive ourselves, our lives, our everything, the way that we do. So, like I said, kings are the highest expression of the suit. So with that, there is a mental clarity, leadership, authority, and too, like, just this orb of light that's at this king's crown chakra, right? Like, I see the crown chakra as being that link to higher consciousness, to higher knowledge, information, intuition, right? We have the High Priestess out here. Your higher self, God, divine, source, if you believe in a higher power at all. There's this compass at what would be the heart, their heart too. So it's following your own north based on really like the information that you have, right? I mean, like, you've been through this, I don't want to call it like a struggle, but whatever this Four of Swords and Nine of Wands is. Like, you have learned a lot. You've observed a lot. Trial and error, too. I always kind of see this maze as like being like our own kind of mental maze, too. We can see that he's holding a contract there. Yeah. It's so interesting how well these cards are going together. And I'm so glad I actually like dug out the book too. It was like in the back of a drawer. But I just kind of felt called to. Anyway, it says he stands alone atop a craggy cliff, perched above the maze of the mind. The King of Swords has endured much hardship and struggles, right, to arrive at his present vantage point. All of a sudden, I can't read. He's applied logic, reason, and intelligence, but he's also learned to balance them against an even higher form of knowledge and wisdom, his intuition. He has learned to balance the directions of his mind against the compass of his heart, and the result is a pure and majestic form of leadership. In his right hand, he leans upon the sword of truth, and he knows well how to wield it should he have occasion to. However, for the time being, he holds it in, oh my God, what is this word? Abeyance? This is like, reading in front of the class, kind of embarrassing. A further sign of his confidence and courage in his abilities to lead. He is guided directly by the sphere of light which has settled in the crown of his head, a sign of his direct communication with the realms of light and knowledge. Okay, I mean, I'm basically just fucking... Should the King of Swords present himself in your reading, he often represents individuals in positions of power and authority. From his summit, he views the events and experiences of life from a very different perspective, giving him a more objective view of the world. In contrast to the Queen of Swords, he does not communicate with quite so much directness. Rather, the King of Swords acts as a gentle guide on the way. This card calls you to meditation, to seek, to be collected and balanced in your judgments. With time and reflection, you'll be able to see clearly the solution to the problem at hand. Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like I took a turn there. But also, the Four of Swords talks about meditation as well. Of course, meditation is great. Do that. But it really is also, too, like getting quiet enough to literally hear yourself. Like if we're like in constant motion, constantly doing things, constantly, on that hamster wheel in our head, then we won't hear our own guidance. We don't open ourselves to, higher knowledge, or for downloads to drop in, or for, guidance to come also. Not to mention, being in this King of Swords energy would be better possible given yourself time to rest. Like, it's like one of those things, you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you are mentally exhausted, physically exhausted, again, burnt out, right? Then it's hard to make logical decisions because you're fucking exhausted. And it's like, one more thing happens and I'm gonna fucking lose it, right? Instead of, again, right? Like, instead of giving yourself a day or two, it doesn't have to be 3 or 5 years. That's when it starts getting bad, right? Like, again, that's when we are 4 years keeping ourselves in a state of burnout, not honoring the need for rest or to step away from the thing or whatever. The Fool card is a leap of faith, a brand new beginning. It's also associated with Uranus, and Uranus is in Taurus right now. Just kind of like, unexpected things happening, really trusting the process, like really surrendering. And again, though, too, right? Like, it is really hard to want to take a leap if you haven't given yourself time to rejuvenate, if you don't have the energy to. There's a strength card between the King of Swords and the Fool. This is Leo. The Wheel of Fortune is Jupiter, which is Pisces and Sagittarius. Like I said, the Fool is Uranus, which is Aquarius. High Priestess is Pisces and Cancer, depending on who you ask. The Strength card is giving me big discipline vibes. I mean, it talks about resilience, determination, perseverance, inner strength, which is kind of like what the Nine of Wands talks about a little bit too. Little bit. Just, kind of having the strength to continue forward, like don't quit type of thing. But it really kind of feels like whatever it is that is coming up for you, because anytime that there is like this big period of rest, and especially too if it's being forced on you, because this kind of does feel like it's quote unquote for like you really need it, right? And again, if you have been already in a period of rest where you're just kind of like, I'm ready for things to change. Like I'm ready for like movement to start happening again, right? It will be. Okay. So either way, depending on your situation, if you have been resting, things are going to change. If you have not been resting, you need to. And on the other side of either one of those situations is this opportunity that is going to require a level of discipline from you. It could be a leadership role. It could require a lot of just, kind of mental attention, and to even following your own north, right? Like following your own compass. It does take energy and discipline to be able to do that. Taking that leap of faith, trusting that you will be caught, and you will. Interestingly enough, too, this king is kind of standing on this, I don't know what they called it in the book, but I'll call it a cliff, because the Fool looks like they're walking off of like a cliff too. So it's interesting how both of these have like a perspective of, like a viewpoint. The Fool isn't even looking at where they're walking. And even with it being next to the High Priestess, which is the direct connection to our star player, again, our higher self, our intuition, God, source, divine, higher consciousness, whatever you want to call it, right? You cannot hear your own intuition. You won't have the energy available to even follow your own intuition unless you rest. And if you, again, have been in this period of resting, be sure that you are honoring that, because it is going to change. There is going to be something new here that you are going to be making a decision on. Even, having the strength to go for it. It is something that is for you, destined, fated, even, because even like this contract that he's holding here, it could be a soul contract. Like just perfect timing, right? The right place at the right time. The stars align. Actually, I'm pretty sure that today, specifically February 28th, I'm probably not going to put this out until tomorrow. But on today, February 28th, there is supposed to be an alignment of like 7 planets or something, 7 stars or something. I saw a TikTok about it, and I think it was at like 4 p.m. 1, 2, 3, that's 5. I was going to say that would be wild if there was like 7 stars on the High Priestess. That's weird. Maybe it's 5. I don't know. There's this portal here too. Yin and yang, like, you know, things balancing out. There's the keys here. Like, something is going to be happening for you that is very fated. It could happen fast too. Communication, internet, I don't know, something having to do with the internet. But yeah, the 8 of Wands is fast. Things could move quickly for you. Or even just, you know, having a conversation with somebody. Let's see. Since, I mean, we've read the book on a lot of these other cards. The geese are flying south for the winter in their classic V formation, sharing the burden by working together. The journey that began so long ago is now making significant headway. Still, there is not a moment to lose in their odyssey. The cold chill of winter edges them on, icing their very bones should they linger too long. They are pushed ever onward by their desire for freedom and their memories of greener climes. The 8 of Wands is all about speed, forward motion, and even possible travel. If projects have been stagnant for a while, know they will start moving again. If you've been awaiting some pertinent news to come through, now know it's soon to arrive. Since the 8 of Wands is all about the active force of nature, you yourself might be feeling more energetic. Your project has now started to gather some steam. See, and truly, that will only be possible if you surrender to the need for rest. Give yourself a break, you know? I love this. I'm leaving it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I almost said, well, and the book, because I read it a lot this time. Oh boy. I will talk to you soon. Bye.